So this offseason, the Packers made the decision to sign former number 8 overall pick Isaiah Simmons, originally drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, and then after 3 seasons got traded for a 7th-round pick to the New York Giants. And the Packers signed him to a 1-year, $1.3 million deal this offseason. And one thing with Isaiah Simmons when he was coming into the NFL, a lot of people saw him as a linebacker safety hybrid type player who could also rush off the edge. And so that's how the Arizona Cardinals utilized him. A ton of snaps in the box, a ton of snaps at slot corner as well. So they're using him off the edge, at safety, at linebacker. And unfortunately for Isaiah Simmons, during his time with Arizona and with the Giants the past couple of years, he wasn't ever able to really get to that level that people expected him to be at when he was drafted as a top 10 player. And so coming into Green Bay, I think that, there's no longer those sky-high expectations just because when you're a top 10 pick and then you end up getting signed for, $1.3 million, this is something where the Packers are taking a chance on him, and I think it's a totally smart move just because when you have a guy coming in for $1.3 million in the NFL, that's relatively cheap. And so if it doesn't work out, it's not a big deal. If it does work out, you could get some really solid value with Isaiah Simmons. And he had an interview, it was either yesterday or the day before, and he spoke about how Jeff Hafley plans to use him and where he'll be playing. So here's some quotes from the interview. He said, "I think really what I ran into most of my career is everybody wants me to do everything as opposed to letting me get really good at one thing first. I fully believe in Haf's plan. He's letting me just lock in and learn a small portion first before we even think about expanding to anything else. That's something I really appreciate because I never really had that opportunity to really just hone in on one position. Just being able to lock in on one thing and do that 1/11th every play, that's been huge for me. Honestly, I feel like this is the most comfortable in a system I've been since I've been in the league. I just feel like Haf's defense fits me better. I like his vision, his creativity. I need to be with a guy who is creative." And so he also, made the point that the plan is for him to, be playing at linebacker. And so that's where the Packers seem to be focusing with him right now. And I think it's smart. You have a guy who never really, as he said here, he never really had the opportunity to hone in on one position. And it sounds like that's what Jeff Hafley is allowing him to do. And one thing about Jeff Hafley that was talked about a lot right after he got signed to Green Bay, and we witnessed it last year and we saw players speak about it throughout the season, that Hafley seems to be a really solid teacher. He's good at taking these complex, schemes and ideas and simplifying it down so that these guys can play quick and play fast. And I do wonder if, that aspect of Jeff Hafley and his ability to teach people, if that's going to allow Isaiah Simmons to maybe get to a place he hadn't gotten in years past and, starting him off at one position. I think it makes a lot of sense for Isaiah Simmons. And when we look at the Packers linebacker room, Simmons got to start a lot with the ones this week at minicamp, according to the reporters, because Quay Walker was out. And so he was that third linebacker out there with Isaiah McDuffie, Edgerrin Cooper, and then Isaiah Simmons was also out there. And so it's going to be something fun to watch this season to sort of see what happens there because we know he has the talent. He had one of the highest relative athletic scores ever, 9.97, runs a crazy fast 40. So he has a lot of these gifts and skills, and it's going to be cool to see if he's able to adapt into Jeff Hafley's defense. And because, as I said, only $1.3 million, there's not really a ton of risk here. And I assume as well that Simmons should probably be a pretty big difference maker on special teams. But if you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe below, and I'll see you guys next time.